Hi guys! We interrupt today's regularly scheduled vlog to bring you a highly requested and overdue video all about business. So if you're interested in business, definitely stay tuned.
Or if you have a business, or if you're thinking of a business idea, or if you've got an existing business, or anything to do with business, please stay tuned. If not,
We'll see you on the next one.
press skip now. Or what is it?
Peace.
Peace.
So if you followed us for a while, then you would have seen me quit my job to run my business full time, which, as you guys know, my business is ToniDaley.com. The boy is also a serial entrepreneur. He runs his own business and has run many businesses in the past. So we're by no means the authority or experts in this area. We just thought we would share tips and advice that we have learned over the years simply because you asked. So just a little background about how I started my business. So I've always been sort of a creative and artist. Like, I've always created stuff. You guys know this. I've always created stuff for myself, and eventually people took notice. So my friends would say, hey, can you make me one? Or my sister would say, can you make me one? So I eventually started making it for like my friends and family, and then I started making stuff for you guys in the forms of giveaways. But I am not an entrepreneur at heart. Never did it dawn on me that I could turn it into a business. The boy, however, is, and he's the one who encouraged me and prompted me to turn what I was doing anyways, ToniDaley.com, into a business. So it sort of was, my customer base was grown organically because, like I said, I was doing it anyways, but he's the one who just sort of showed me how to turn it into a business. He encouraged me to do so. And he's started many businesses in the past, so we don't really share too much about his businesses on our vlogs just because we don't feel the need to share everything about our lives. But he can give you some sort of general tips or a general background of how he got started as well.
Well, usually the way I start a business is it's something that has affected me in my life for some reason. Let's just say, I'll give you a random example, soap. So you wash with soap every single day. And I realized the soap was, let's just say, making my skin dry. So I found out if there was another type of product on the market, and let's say I did, and it was really expensive. So then this is how my business ideas become. So I will take that soap, okay, let's say Joe was selling it for $50. I'm like, wow, why is it so expensive? But it's so awesome. Can I make it for less? And then if I can make it for less, I've just had a business idea. And that's how I basically start most of my business idea. Toni was one thing. She came into my life and I saw an opportunity to make some money off her. So I basically...
Excuse me, you're pimping me out.
If you can make a product better and sell it for less than your competitors, you're going to be successful every time.
That's a little bit of background about us. So let's get into some of your guys' specific questions. In your opinion, what are the first 5 things a person should do if they really want to be an entrepreneur and run their own business? Definitely research. Like, research your field, research your product, whatever it is that you want to make, sell, or offer if it's a service. Find out as much as you can about it.
Just do it. If you have a business or if you have an idea and it's something you want to do, just do it. That's all it is. And so figuring out a way of doing it by research.
I think it really boils down to research. I know the person asked for 5 things, but it really boils down to research. So researching your product, researching how much it's going to cost you.
Target market.
Your market definitely is important.
What your marketing strategy might be as well. Like, if you plan to sell it online or in a store, you might be making an awesome product, but because you didn't research it properly, it might cost you 10 times more, and then you can't sell it for a cheap amount, and then this way nobody will buy it. So even though it's such an amazing product, you know, if you don't have all those other steps, it might not work. So these are things that will like get you on the right track.
How long after you think of a concept do you actually start?
With my experience is, like I said, with the research, it's very important. So let's just say I have a concept. So now I've got to figure out how to do that, where to get the stuff, all that sort of thing. So sometimes, even though you do have a concept, it might take days, months, years before you actually get the things started.
It's going to vary based on your business, and I think the answer for everybody will be different. Really though, it does go back to number 1, which is do your research. I think that depending on the size of the business, depending on what you're offering, you may have to build up inventory. That might take you longer than somebody who's just providing a service. If you're starting a small business, like all of our businesses have been small, that might be a lot faster to start up than if you're going to start up, a chain of restaurants. So your starting point is going to vary from business to business, but really it goes back to research. And once you've researched your cost, your product, your market, and you have all of that down, that's when you start.
Every business that I've ever started has always been small and always thought of as almost like a hobby. And so it's very easy. It's not taxing on your mind. It's not taxing on your wallet. You start off very, very small. Something you can just, let's see if I can make $5 off this thing, right? After you've gotten that $5 a few times, and then you snowball into starting like a small micro business. And once when that micro business becomes more successful, it becomes into a small business. So this way you're still only, and you only reinvest the money that you put into your hobby, so your first step. And then as you get into the second step, just reinvest that money to make it into your third step. So you really haven't spent any of your own personal money into it. And then grow it from there. I'd say start as very small if you can, and then slowly grow into a larger business. I think even if you're a millionaire, I still say go through those steps. It's a good way to prove the concept of what you're doing, seeing if it works through all the little markets, and as it gets bigger, it'll snowball and become that $1 billion idea that you think it is.
So another question that I got are, what are the key components involved in setting up an online business, which is a good question. I think that online businesses are pretty easy to set up in comparison to a brick and mortar, because everything is available online. A lot of websites are available nowadays which cover all of these areas, such as, for example, Big Cartel is a website that you can use to build your site online, and they'll offer you everything from merchant info to hosting to payment method, built-in payment methods, etc. So there's a lot of those types of websites out nowadays. Shopify is another one, Big Cartel, Etsy, eBay. You can start an eBay store. Those are the easiest sort of sites to use to build an online business. Another question we got, which is a good question I think, is should you use your own name as your business name or a made-up business name? And I think you could go either way. My business is my name, ToniDaley.com. His business is not his name, so
yeah, it all depends on what. Well, it could all depend on your name too. So if you have like a scary name out there, it's like, oh.
If you already have a following under your name, for example, if you're very popular in social media and your name is Lisa Williams, you may want to just stick with Lisa Williams, particularly if you're offering something that you make. If you're a designer, like a lot of the big designer houses are names, right? Names of people. If you think about, since most of us are in the natural hair community, just natural hair care product lines, Shea Moisture is a very popular natural hair care line. That's obviously not somebody's name, but so is Talia Wajid. So I think that you could go both ways. It really just depends on what your preference is.
Yeah, true.
I don't think one is better than another.
Just go with whatever you think. If you have a cool name for a business, go for it. If your own name is very cool and you love it and you want to see it on a product, go for it. As long as it's something people will remember, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's true. Another thing is you might want to check if it's taken already. If you have a really common name, or even if you have a really common business name idea, it might already be taken. So you might want to check on that first, and then that'll help you make your decision as well. What are the costs associated with starting a business?
It varies.
It varies depending on what type of business you want to start. But I guess the basics, number one is registering your business. So there's a cost associated with that. Number two is purchasing your domain or your website.
Yep.
There's a cost associated with that. And
these are small things though. I mean, you can register a domain name for about $10 a month. The business registration, I'm not sure, it varies from state to state and country to country, but let's just say $100.
So the cost of inventory is of course going to be the big variable depending on what type of business you're starting. But the first two things that every business has to do: register the business, buy your domain. Okay, here's a good question. How much money do you suggest saving to start a business? And how long should you work on your business before you quit your job? Those two are sort of linked.
So you don't have to save anything to start a business. I mean, most people start businesses because they don't have any money, or they want a second income to help pay for their mortgage, rent, kids, whatever, holidays, or just even gas money. So if you have an idea, don't worry about saving money for it, unless it's like a car dealership, which then obviously you have to buy some product. But if it's something that you're making yourself and you have stuff around already, don't worry about saving. Just try to start selling it. I mean, just start doing it.
In terms of how long to work on your business before quitting, I guess it depends on how much money you're making at your job and how much you want to make at your business. A lot of people, especially nowadays, want to have multiple streams of income. So starting a business doesn't necessarily mean quitting your job. I worked my job for 7 years with my side business. So there's no reason to say, oh, I started a business, now I gotta quit my job. That's not how most of us operate, right? And you'll know when you get to that point when you just can't juggle the two jobs anymore, or when you find that you have to now hire help to get certain tasks accomplished. You'll know if it's time.
If you want to quit your job and run your business full time, as long as your quality of life isn't going to change with that transition, then that's the right time to do it. That's in my opinion. So if you're getting paid, say, $1,000 a month in your job, and you're used to getting paid that's just hypothetical, getting that $1,000 a month, and your business is now making at least $1,000 a month, right? And it's consistent, say, over the last 12 months, then if you want and you're comfortable with that level to keep going that route and eventually hopefully go up with your business, that's when you should.
How to decide on pricing.
That's an easy one.
That's an easy one. You want to take that one?
The way I think we do, we decide on pricing is we ask each other, how much would I pay for that? What is that worth to me?
And you have to be honest with yourself, and if you have difficulty with that, you can always poll, do a little market research. So the next question we get often actually is how to stand out from your competition. And nobody can actually tell you how to stand out from your competition. I think that everybody will bring something different to the table. Like, we're all individuals, we're not identical, we're not clones. So I think it's just inevitable that you will bring something different to the table than the next person. It just has to do with your individual personality, really. If you take the example, because we're both vloggers, of YouTube vloggers, essentially we're all doing the same thing. We're all recording our lives, we're all uploading to YouTube, snippets from our life. So even though we're all doing the same thing, and I'm sure you're all subscribed to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 vloggers.
Or just us.
We still all are different, right? So even if you're doing the same thing as somebody else, chances are your personality is what's going to make it different. So just make sure that your personality shines through your business. Make sure you stay true to yourself and just do your thing, girl. Okay, this question is going to vary for everybody, but should you make your own products or get them manufactured? And I think it's going to vary. I mean, if you see a need to sell umbrellas, do you know how to make umbrellas? If you do, great. I think that you should make one and try to sell it. And then if you sell that, make 2 and try to sell those. If you see a need for umbrellas and you don't know how to make umbrellas, chances are you're going to need to do some research on umbrella manufacturers. So it really depends on what your product is and whether you know how to make it or not.
Always look at how much it costs you to make something versus how much it would cost for somebody else to make it for you, and then factor in time. How much is your time worth?
Yeah, and you know what? You can technically do both or go back and forth. If you start making your own products and then your business skyrockets and you find that you can't keep up with demand, at that point you may want to look for outside help, hiring people to help you make the product, or getting a manufacturer. So you can start one way or the other based on whether you know how to make your product or not, and then go from there. Oh, next one's easy. Best advertising options for startup businesses.
First thing you do is you get on the phone, call Toni, send her one of your products, and she'll give you a shout out, usually for free.
Don't do that.
But it does happen.
So best advertising options for startup business, you are looking at it. Social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. Periscope, there's so many, Pinterest.
Anything.
There's so many social media apps out there and everybody's using them, so you might as well use them too.
Yeah, and it's free.
It's free, yeah. You can spend money using social media. For example, you can contact a YouTuber and sponsor a video. Hello. You can contact an Instagrammer to sponsor a post. You can pay on Facebook to post advertisements. So you can utilize paid social media forms, but you know, it's just as easy to use it free. So another question we got is, should you invest in business courses? What do you think about that?
You know, knowledge doesn't hurt. Anytime you learn something, especially if it's in something you want to do, it doesn't hurt. Personally, I would say for myself and the type of person I am, no. I usually like to encounter a problem, go into Google, type it up, and then fix it and find out what that problem is. But I don't think it's necessary at all. Again, it's spending money. Business courses could be expensive. You could probably go to one of your local community centers, maybe take one for free. That's something I would probably do. I don't like spending on money on stuff that, especially it's going to take a long time too. Usually if you want to start a business, you're ready to go, 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 go. I say go, 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 but don't spend any money going.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like he said, it's nice, but not necessary. But there are a lot of free resources you guys can take advantage of. You just gotta do a little bit of research. It will vary from area to area. We're in Canada, in Toronto specifically, so you know, our government programs will not be the same as yours. But you know, if you go onto your local state's website, you should be able to search and see what programs they offer for small businesses. If you go look up your local business development center, you should be able to find a lot of information from them as well. So there are free courses and free information that you can take advantage of, and whether you want to invest and pay to take one is just really up to you.
Bro, but the way you look at it is, look, we just made this video. You're going to be successful after watching it because we've given you all the tips. Everything you need that they tell you in the course, this is gold. This is like way better. Save your time and money. Watch this video.
Well, thank you guys so much for your questions. Thank you. We are extremely flattered that
definitely.
you ask us for our opinion and advice. Again, we're not the authority, the final say.
Take it with a grain. Just take it as just advice from a friend that this is what we're giving you. We don't want to tell you not to take those business courses. We don't want you to not invest $1 million in your business. You do what you think is right.
So thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.